Hello dear friends and subscribers of Cricket Happenings, welcoming you here to this cricket show today. Your host Ram, as usual. Dear friends and subscribers, in this particular cricket show, what we are going to see is we are going to have a look at the fifth one-day international between New Zealand and Sri Lanka, which resulted, what a match it was, in the sense it was something which created a world record as far as the sixth wicket partnership was concerned, when New Zealand were the ones who actually batted first, and they racked up. I mean, what happened was they were 93 for 5 at one stage. Sri Lanka had done all the good work, and they had reduced New Zealand to 93 for 5 in the 20th over, with Luke Ronchi and Elliot at the crease. And after that, Sri Lanka had absolutely no success, as this particular partnership was the one which created a world record for the sixth wicket in one-day internationals, when Luke Ronchi, with 170 unbeaten runs, he made 170 not out, of 99 balls with 14 fours and 9 sixes. And I already told you that in this World Cup, Luke Ronchi would be a real person to watch, and New Zealand team is looking pretty strengthened. So just continuing on that, it was a world record sixth wicket partnership for the sixth wicket, which yielded 167 runs. Luke Ronchi's contribution being an unbeaten 170 of 99 deliveries with 14 fours and 9 sixes, and incidentally it was his maiden one-day international century. And what a knock that was, considering that World Cup is going to be played in New Zealand, and Luke Ronchi would be definitely looking forward to it. Supporting him was Elliot, who was sort of a bit of a controversy when he was actually included ahead of James Neesham. But Elliott definitely proved a point here that why he was included by the selectors for the World Cup, as he carved out an unbeaten 104 of 96 balls with 7 fours and 2 sixes. And as I said, a world record was created as far as the sixth wicket was concerned, when New Zealand now hold the proud record of having scored 167, not 160, it was 267 runs partnership, unbeaten at that, between Elliott and Luke Ronchi, which took the score when New Zealand, as I said, the chips were down at 93 for 5, and look at what they did to the Sri Lankan attack. They took the score on to 360 for 5 of 50 overs, and always that target was always difficult for Sri Lanka, but Sri Lanka definitely led the charge. The charge was led by Tilgatne Dilshan with a wonderful century, 116 of 106 balls with 17 fours and 1 6. But they couldn't go any further, in the sense Sri Lanka had to be content with 252 runs that they could muster, and New Zealand not only winning the match by 108 runs, but also taking a lead in the one-day series now. They stand at 3-1 with 2 more to go. So probably one can say that Sri Lanka have to win the 2 remaining matches if at all they want to level the series. So it is nicely set up as far as that is concerned. Now, this was just a briefing on the fifth ODI. I will definitely talk to you in detail. And the other match that we are talking about yesterday, as I told you, that India were the ones who would be closely watching this match in the Carlton Mid-Try series between Australia and England. Well, I can only tell you one thing. India would have been very disappointed because Australia walked away. Australia chased a very big target. In fact, England were the ones who batted first, and India would have been happy to see that England had posted 303 for 8 of the 50 overs, which was led by Ian Bell, who made a century, 141 of 125 balls with 15 fours and 1 6. And he also became the highest scorer of runs in one-day internationals for England, as he overtook Paul Collingwood. And also Australia, well, they definitely charged that England total of 303, and look at what Australia did. Australia went on to win the match by 3 wickets, which was led by Stephen Smith. Now Stephen Smith, on his debut as a captain, had reeled off 3 test centuries against India, and now on his debut as a one-day international captain scored a century. and Australia are absolutely firing on all cylinders in this mid-try series, as they have not lost a single match. And for India now, the task has been made pretty difficult because there are only 2 more matches to go, and it looked like Australia-England tri-series final now, because if at all India have to win, they have to beat England, they have to beat Australia and England with bonus points, and that is going to be something which is pretty, I wouldn't say impossible, but that is something which requires some serious stuff coming from the Indians. But what a match that was. Australia charging the England total of 303 and winning it, and that was something, a sight to behold, one could say, because with only 1 ball to spare, actually Australia won the match. So I'll be talking about that. So now, first let's look at the 5th ODI, because the reason that we're looking at the 5th ODI is because the world record was created. So it all started with New Zealand actually losing the toss there, and Sri Lanka inviting the New Zealanders to bat at the University Oval here in Dunedin in the 1st One Day International, and New Zealand were in trouble, absolutely, right from the word go they were in trouble, as Nuwan Kulashekara was bowling the first over, got Guptill's wicket of the very first delivery of the New Zealand innings, as Guptill was trying to play at it and he was caught by Sangakkara for a duck. So that was the beginning of things to come as far as success was concerned for Sri Lanka. After that, Brendan McCullum played some very good strokes in his 25 of 37 balls with 5 fours before being a victim of the bowling of Kulashekara. And Pereira picked up the wicket of Kane Williamson for 26 of 32 balls with 4 fours. And Ross Taylor and Corey Anderson was sent by a part-time bowler. Lairu Thirumanne was pressed into service. And Lairu Thirumanne, incidentally, one could say that yesterday there was no Angelo Matthews because he was injured, and Lairu Thirumanne was the acting captain. And Lairu Thirumanne brought himself on, and well, he did a star turn there by picking up 2 wickets, as Taylor was dismissed for 20, and he also picked up the wicket of Corey Anderson, who was LBW for 8. And the New Zealand's innings was really dawdling at the time at 93 for 5 after 20 overs, and Sri Lankan captain Lairu Thirumanne would have thought that he had done the right thing in inviting New Zealand to bat. But once from 93 for 5, nothing went Sri Lanka's way. Well, the catches were dropped. 1 catch was dropped to the ball of Grant Elliott, but look at that Luke Ronchi innings. He was only dropped at 167, and look at his score. He scored 170 of 99 balls with 14 fours and 9 sixes. As has been the case, New Zealand have been getting some good support from the either from the middle order or the lower middle order, and today it was the lower middle order which came to the rescue, and the rescue came in a big way. As I said, Luke Ronchi and Grant Elliott slowly decided to settle themselves down, but Luke Ronchi was not he was not really thinking about, he was still going for the strokes. And what was good about Luke Ronchi's innings was Luke Ronchi was a person who was willing to take the risk. In fact, he was willing to hit over the top. Not only that, anything which was pitched up was disappearing, and he was also collecting a lot of runs on the onside. As he was flicking well, he was hitting the ball over square leg for 6s. The spinners were coming in for some severe tap. Even the pace bowlers were getting some real punishment, especially Suranga Lakmal, who suffered at the hands of this partnership between Luke Ronchi. And the other end, it was Grant Elliott. Grant Elliott was more of a sedate player, in the sense he was not really trying to farm the strike. He was basically trying to take the singles and give the strike to Luke Ronchi. And before Sri Lanka could realize, this partnership was galloping. And finally, with the last 10 overs, with still with the scoreline still reading 5 wickets, 122 runs were scored of the last 10 overs, and that was the time we saw that Grant Elliott really came into his own, and he also started smacking the New Zealand bowling, and New Zealand bowlers had absolutely no answer. As I said, Luke Ronchi and Grant Elliott put together a world record unbeaten partnership for the 6th wicket of 267 runs, which took the New Zealand total on to 360 for 5 of their 50 overs. And look at what they did. From 93 for 5 in 20 overs, Sri Lanka would have never expected it, with New Zealand not losing a wicket, put up 360 on the board, thanks to Luke Ronchi, who was simply, I would say, he was simply fantastic, because Luke Ronchi, his maiden one-day international century, he was not out on 170 of just 99 deliveries, 14 fours and 9 sixes, and the other end Grant Elliott collected his second one-day international century. He had an unbeaten 104 to his name of 96 balls with 7 fours and 2 sixes, and New Zealand would have to really thank Luke Ronchi and Grant Elliott for getting on to such a princely total of 360 for 5. Looking at the bowling served by the Sri Lankans, Kulashekara was really carved for runs, 10 overs, 2 for 71 for him. Look at Lakmal, who was the costliest bowler. His 10 overs disappeared for 93 runs without a wicket. Pereira bowled 10 overs, 1 for 49. Lairu Tirumane, the acting captain, pressed into service himself, and he really did a star turn there. 10 overs no maiden, 1 for 49. 7 overs no maiden, 2 for 36. Serenayake, 7 overs for 58, was receiving some tap from the Luke Ronchi and Elliot. Mendes, 2 overs for 21, and Dilshan, 4 overs no maiden, none for 31. And looking at the Sri Lankan innings, well, Sri Lanka started off in a good fashion. In fact, they started off in firm fashion because we saw that Tirumane was also hitting sixes. Dilshan was scoring boundaries, and they were doing a good job, as they had raised 93 runs in 18.3 overs. And Tirumane was doing his job, and Grant Elliott was the one who came in and dismissed Tirumane for 65 balls with 3 fours and 1 6. And unfortunately for Sri Lanka, Dilshan was doing. Unfortunately for Sri Lanka, they would have expected Jayawardene and Sangakkara to really come and give them some good support, but Dilshan was the only man who was really fighting a lone battle, as he was doing a good job there, playing some wonderful strokes, also hitting over the top. But Elliot also picked up the wicket of Kumar Sangakkara when he was caught by McCallum for 9 of 17 balls, and Jayawardene contributed only 30 of 29 balls with 3 fours. But when Jayawardene was there, Sri Lanka definitely had hope, because Dilshan was firing well at the other end. Jayawardene was also playing well, and the score was looking good at 211 for 3. And as far as Jayawardene and Dilshan were the crease, Sri Lanka definitely had hope. But all those hopes were shattered. Once there was the departure of Jayawardene, really brought a collapse to the Sri Lankan innings, as Sri Lanka were all out for 252. Dilshan stood out with a knock of 116 of 106 balls with 17 fours and 1 6. But other than that, Kulashekara was promoted in the batting order, but he could do nothing. He was out for 3. Jivanta Mendes showed some sort of an attempt by making 18 of 17 balls with 1 4 and 1 6. Chandimal was out for naught. Pereira was dismissed for a naught. Karunaratne, who came in pretty late in the batting order, was out for 12, 13 balls. Serenayake was not out on 3. Lakmal was out for naught, and that was the end of the Sri Lankan innings. Thus, New Zealand taking a 3-1 lead in the one-day series. Not only that, they won this match by 108 runs by a huge margin. 252 all out was the final tally for Sri Lanka. And looking at the bowling, well, Trent Boult was the most successful bowler. 10 overs no maiden, 4 for 44 for him. Tim Southee, 7.4 overs no maiden, 2 for 42. Nathan McCallum bowled 4 overs, none for 21. McClenaghan bowled 8 overs, which cost him 56 runs and 2 wickets. Grant Elliott bowled well, I thought, 9 overs no maiden, 242. And Corey Anderson bowled 5 overs, which went for 41 runs. And the man of the match was shared by Grant Elliott and Luke Ronchi, and I thought that was the right way to go, because they had put on a record 6-wicket partnership in one-day internationals of 267 unbroken runs. What a partnership that was, and Sri Lanka had no answer to that. So that was it. So Sri Lanka definitely have to win the next 2 remaining matches if at all they want to level the series. One more match, New Zealand wins, and New Zealand are winning the series. So right now it stands at 3-1. So now, without further ado, let's get on to the other match, which would be between Australia and England in the Carlton Mid-Try Series. This match was played at the Belgrave Oval in Hobart, and England were the ones who actually batted first, and the toss was actually won by Australia, and Australia decided that they will insert England into bat. As far as England were concerned, well, England ran up a very good total. They got a good opening partnership between Moeen Ali and Ian Bell. In fact, they put on the best partnership in this Carlton mid-price series for England, as they put on 113 runs for the first wicket, with Moeen Ali into serious business when he actually went and slammed Cummins, the fastest bowler in the Australian lineup, for 3 consecutive sixes. He pulled him for 3 consecutive sixes. 2 sixes were hit pretty cleanly. It really landed, rose into the spectators there, but the third one probably could have been caught, but still just sailed over the rope for a 6. And 3 consecutive sixes to give such shabby treatment to Patrick Cummins. And Moeen Ali and Bell were really scorching runs at the time, and the score had reached 113. So they're really setting up a good foundation there. But then Faulkner was the one who provided the breakthrough for Australia, as he picked up the wicket of Moeen Ali for 46 of 48 balls with 3 4s and 3 6s. Jerome Taylor walked in. Ian Bell, as I said, he was playing very well. He was hitting the ball beautifully over the fielders. He was chipping the ball. He was playing neat strokes, some orthodox strokes too, and he was looking absolutely confident. But well, England after that, they lost Taylor to the bowling of Enriquez for 5. Joe Root came in and provided the much needed support that Ian Bell needed, and that was the precise reason England went on to a score of 303 for 8. As Bell and Joe Root combined, Joe Root was playing very well. He was watchful, but he was making sure that he was keeping the scoreboard moving, which was good to see. Ian Bell, as I said, was looking pretty confident with his stroke making, and Bell was by the time, and Bell and Joe Root had put on a very good partnership. They took the score from 132 for 2 to 253, so 121 runs added for the third wicket, which really helped matters. And Ian Bell finally fell for 141, and that was the time Gurinder Sandhu did a very good thing. In fact, Gurinder Sandhu picked up 2 wickets on the trot, as first he dismissed Ian Bell, who was caught by Stark for 141 of 125 balls with 15 4s and 1 6. As said, Ian Bell is now the highest scorer of runs in the sense the highest scorer, the highest total runs scored by Ian Bell is the highest in one-day internationals. In fact, he went past Paul Collingwood, so he's the person who holds the record for the most runs in one-day internationals now, which really came as a surprise according to me. Joe Root, well, he made 69 of 70 balls to 6 4. Just continuing the story, once Ian Bell was gone, the very next delivery, I would say the situation was absolutely tailor-made for the English captain Morgan to come and really show his real big hitting, but that was not to be, as Morgan was snapped up by Haddin behind the stumps of the bowling of Gurinder Sandhu for duck, and Gurinder Sandhu had picked up 2 wickets in 2 balls there. After that, Butler contributed. He was run out for 24 balls with 2 4s, and Joe Root, as I said, he made 69 very well made runs of 70 balls with 6 4s. Bopara was out for 7. Vokes was not out and run out or not. Broad was not out or not, and England finished at a very good score thanks to Ian Bell's century, 303 for 8 of 50 overs. The bowling, Mitchell Stark couldn't make much of an impression. 10 overs, no maiden, 1 for 60. Cummins, as I said, was taken to the cleaners today, especially Moeen Ali slamming him for 3 consecutive sixes. 10 overs, no maiden, 1 for 74 for Patrick Cummins. Sandhu, I thought, was the pick of the bowlers. 10 overs, no maiden, 2 for 49, bowled a good line. Maxwell 3 overs for 22. 10 overs, 59 runs for James Faulkner with 1 wicket to show besides him. And Moises Enriquez bowled 7 overs. I thought Moises Enriquez did a good job. 7 overs, no maiden, 1 for 34. As far as Australia were concerned, they were chasing a total of 303. Today they had new openers in the absence of David Warner. It was Aaron Finch along with Sean Marsh. Sean Marsh and Aaron Finch put up a very decent partnership of 76 runs for the first wicket, with things going on well. But then after that, it was Moeen Ali who broke that stand when he actually had Aaron Finch clean bowling him for 32 of as many balls with 3 4s. Sean Marsh contributed a neat 45, 48 balls, 6 4s. And then Cameron White, who was actually making a comeback, that was the time Stephen Finn struck. Stephen Finn first had Sean Marsh sent back to the pavilion, and with the very next delivery, not with the very next delivery, he bowled one more ball to Cameron White, who was making a comeback into one-day internationals, but it was a very, very sad comeback, as it was a spearing Yorker from Stephen Fenn, which really, I would say, really was a real swinging Yorker, and Cameron White was tapped on the pads, and up went the umpire's finger. Cameron White was gone. LBW bowled Finn for naught, and Australia were 92 for 3. And Maxwell, after making 37 of 38 balls with 4 fours, trying to take the attack to England, also perished out for 37, and the score reached 161 for 4. But after that, it was Stephen Smith who was at the other end, really not in real hurry, and he was taking his time at the crease, but was also making sure that the scoreboard was being pushed. And James Faulkner was promoted in the batting order. He contributed 35 of 43 balls with 4 fours, and Chris Wokes was the one who picked up his wicket as Brad Haddin came in. Now once Faulkner was gone, the score was 216 for 5. It was still a long way to go for Australia, but the good thing was that Stephen Smith, the Australian captain, was there at the crease, and he was joined by Brad Haddin. Brad Haddin definitely decided to really give some acceleration to the Australian innings from 216 for 5, as that partnership between Brad Haddin and Stephen Smith yielded a very good, very useful, one could say, 81 very good runs, which was added in 10 overs, thanks to Brad Haddin, who was attacking the English bowlers. He made 42 of 29 balls with 4 fours and 1 6, and the score, and that was the time Brad Haddin was gone. Brad Haddin was caught by Bell of the bowling of Wokes for 42, and the score reached 297 for 6. But they still had another 15 balls to go. Stephen Smith was there at the crease, but there was sudden pressure which was built with Chris Wokes bowling very well at that stage, and the pressure started building, and Moises Henriques was not able to get the ball off the square, and finally and in fact Moises Henriques, because he was not able to get runs, he actually got himself run out, which really complicated matters for Australia, but they still had nothing to really worry about as far as Stephen Smith was there. But the main thing was that Stephen Smith had to get on strike, because Stephen Smith was a non-striker, and finally it all came down to the wire as Moises Henriques was run out, and 2 more runs were required and 3 balls. Mitchell Starc was the tailender who was walking in, but it was Stephen Smith who was taking strike, and Stephen Smith in the 4th delivery managed to get a single, and it brought Mitchell Starc onto strike, and suddenly there was a real palpable tension in the camp whether Australia can really win this match. But Mitchell Starc, with a very cool head of the very first delivery that he faced, managed to get the ball through the covers, and victory was Australia's. And Stephen Smith had gone on to a century. Stephen Smith, once again, as I said, as a captain, I think Stephen Smith, success is almost written on Stephen Smith, because Stephen Smith, whenever he is a captain, we have seen he has scored centuries. Not a single match has gone where Stephen Smith is not without a century as captain. So that really says that captaincy really, really brings the best out of Stephen Smith. And Stephen Smith was not out on 102 wonderful runs of 95 balls with 6 fours and 1 6. He took the man of the match award. Starc was not out on 1, and England losing the match as Australia won the match with 1 ball to spare by 3 wickets. What a match we had here at Hobart. And now life is becoming very difficult for India, because if England would have won, India would have probably got a chance. Now it looks like Australia-England final, according to me. Chris Wokes, 9.5 overs, no maiden, 2 for 58. He bowled well at the latter stage, as I said, just increasing the pressure on the Australians. Anderson, 10 overs, none for 56. Broad was costly, 9 overs, none for 61. Moeen Ali, 10 overs, 50 runs, and he picked up 2 wickets. Stephen Finn, 10 overs for 65 runs and 2 wickets, but was costly. Initially bowled well, but he got some tap later on. And Bopara bowled 1 over for 11 runs. And as I said, now things have become very difficult for India. Australia are in the driver's seat, so it looked like an Australia-England final, but well, we don't know, because England have 5 points, but if India can win the next match, so India's next match is going to be very, very crucial. It's a must-win match for them. If at all India lose that match, then I think it would be curtains for them. But one is really hoping to see what happens on Australia Day when India take on Australia, I reckon. Well, dear fans and subscribers, nothing really to share other than that. Thanks for your company, and thanks for your continuous cooperation to this cricket show. Your host Ram will see you tomorrow. Thank you.